It's pure Michigan, a setting like no other, but it can't always sell itself. The annual get-together on Mackinac Island dials in on how to grow Michigan, from keeping what we have to attracting what we don't. Today is Sunday, June 4th, 2023, and from Mackinac Island, this is Flashpoint. Hi, and welcome to Flashpoint, coming to you this morning from the beautiful Grand Hotel on Mackinac Island, the site of the annual Policy Conference from the Detroit Regional Chamber. I'm here, as I've been all week, with my colleague, Christy McDonald. She's on our set on the west end of the porch. And Christy, this policy conference always focuses on growth, whether it's business or politics, but this year specifically about population growth.
Yeah, and really the long-term strategy here, and the fact that it's just not one thing, it's not just infrastructure, it's not just education, and it's going to have to last for the next 30 to 50 years.
Enduring policy, that's exactly the point, and that's the topic of my first conversation coming up today with Governor Gretchen Whitmer on Flashpoint. All right, we're going to start things off this morning, fittingly, with the governor of the state of Michigan, Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Governor, it's good to have, I don't remember a better day for this event. It's wonderful.
Spectacular.
It sounds like an oversimplification to say that there is a focus on growing the state, because that sounds like obviously what we talk about every year, but it is an acute focus for you and most of the people here this year.
It is. You know, we've grown as a state, but not at the same clip other states have. We lost a congressional seat in this last census. That's clout in Washington, D.C. That's our ability to bring resources into
And an
Michigan.
electoral vote.
Right, and an electoral vote. So it's why it's really crucial, I think, that we've got a strategy that transcends any one administration, that is a long-term growth strategy. And so I'm going to talk a bit about that during this week and lay out how we can bring together leaders across the state, build a Michigan strategy for growth, and implement it, and so that it continues on long after I'm done. I've got 3.5 more years. This work will need to continue for probably the next decade or two, but it's got to get started in earnest now with real collaboration and buy-in.
For our worries about keeping young people, we saw the poll, the pre-conference poll that showed that about half of our young people aren't sure they'll be here in 10 years. I know you and Richard Florida point to a statistic that shows we're actually doing a better job than might suggest at keeping those people, but we may not be keeping the right ones, right? The STEM kids. Those are the ones that we've got to find a way to keep at home.
Well, there's no question. We've got to have a real wonderful opportunity for people in tech. This is, I think, a real need. All of our manufacturers are tech companies now that do something, right? Whether they move people or they build things, they're tech companies at the heart. And we got to have that talent here. So I know many think about going to Austin or Silicon Valley. Michigan actually has superior quality of life, lower cost of living, phenomenal offerings. But we got to be better at telling that story, and we've got to make sure that we have the strategy to concentrate those amenities that young talent is really expecting and looking for.
But a lot of the growth areas in America, we can't do much about the Sun Belt competition, the warm winters that people get in places like Austin, Florida. I mean, that's kind of it is what it is, isn't it?
Well, yes and no, because the climate is changing, Devin, and all the projections are we do nothing, people are going to start moving to Michigan because they have to, right? Because of water and climate change. We take for granted sometimes what we have here, right? I'm a Michiganer. I can say I, for a period of my life, didn't appreciate what an incredible, unique thing we have here in Michigan. So to harness that, to draw talent and to grow talent within our state and keep our talent, these are all aspects to our ultimate success. We don't want to wait for climate change to drive people to Michigan. We want to pull talent in that can help us combat climate change. But we don't have the wildfires and the hurricanes and, all of the incredible problems that we're seeing play out across the rest of the country, which makes us a really stable, wonderful place to live and to grow a business.
Knock on wood for that. But we also do have, though, all the more important for you and everyone in Lansing to be on the same page, especially on initiatives on clean water and things like that will hold us in good stead, and yet we're very splintered politically. Everybody likes to talk about the Democrats having the majority, but you know better than anyone, it's really narrow. Do you have everybody pulling the rope in the same direction, given the state of the Republican Party right now in the state?
Well, I can't speak for the organization of the Republican Party, but I can tell you I've got regular conversation with the Republican leadership in the legislature. Obviously, I'm talking regularly with the Democratic leadership. We all meet together. These are goals that are not partisan. These are goals that are not about business or labor. This is about all of us. We've got to all be on the same page here. And that's why, the power of and, the theme of this conference, is really important. Michigan is moving in the right direction. We can be outrageously successful, but only if we're all working together toward those same goals. So taking partisanship, divides off the table and really staying focused on growing Michigan's economy, that's where we should be able to find common ground.
This past week up here, you announced your Make It in Michigan plan. Kind of give me the highlights of why you think that's a game changer.
Well, as we think about people and place and projects, all of these are critical components to growing and strengthening our economy. Diversification. This last year and a half since the SOAR Fund was created, we've landed $16 billion of investment, 16,000 jobs. Some incumbent businesses have grown, others have come to make their home in Michigan. This is great. We are on the right trajectory, but to stay focused on continuing to close that skills gap, to make communities places where people can find affordable housing and great amenities. These are all critical components to our long-term goals, and that's why we wanted to announce that we're united and a couple other specifics that we'll be focused on.
A blockade, though, that seems to be in the way. When Corey and I moved our family to Michigan many years ago, we left a southern state coming to Michigan knowing that our kids were going to get a really good education, a better one than they had. Little by little, Michigan has over the years just kept ticking down. Have you figured out, I haven't had a great theory about where we've gone wrong in educating our kids in Michigan and why we now lag so much of the rest of the country.
Yeah, well, I think there are a lot of contributing factors, right? But in the last few years, we have put record resources into education. We closed the gap between wealthy districts and economic districts that had really tough finance times, right? We built equity in on top of that. We also have just come out of a pandemic, and so that's been another big setback. Our focus on tutoring and putting the resources in to wrap our kids with mental health supports and variety of ways that kids need assistance to get back on track. So we're making progress, but part of the council that we're creating to focus on growing Michigan is going to be focused on this aspect as well, because it's absolutely essential. We can have business growth. We can do all the things right, but if you don't have the schools that make sure that the kids are prepared, that will continue to be a problem for us, and that's why that's an important component of our success here.
Lastly, Nancy Caffer wrote a column the other day about why this year's Mackinac feels a little different to her. It's been hard to miss. We have business leaders now spending much more time talking about social justice and talking about social causes. Does that feel different to you?
I think, yes and no, right? I mean, when we talk about social causes, it's about the economy, everything. All of these issues are, right? If you don't feel secure in your workplace or in your home because you're gay, that's a problem for recruiting talent and retaining talent. The business community knows that, and that's why they were supportive of our effort to expand our civil rights law. Women's rights. I mean, there are a lot of DE&I. It's really important that people see in Michigan, no matter who you are, you have a path to prosperity. That is the linchpin to us drawing more people into this state, and I think that's why you're so many business people talking about it.
Do you feel like we're finished fighting over abortion in this state, or do we have many more rounds to go?
I hope we don't have many more rounds to go, but I also know that there are continuing efforts in other states across this country to roll back. And so I don't think that anyone can make an assumption that the conversation or the fight is over.
Governor, it's always good to have you on the program. Thanks so much for the time.
Thanks, Devin.
You bet. We'll continue with more on Flashpoint right after this. This is Flashpoint on Local 4 for Mackinac Island.
It's Empire Today's biggest sale, the 50-50-50 sale. 50% off carpet and flooring, 50% off padding and materials, and 50% off installation. That's right, half off your entire project. You can save thousands. Empire's 50-50-50 sale won't last long. Don't miss 50% off carpet and flooring, 50% off padding and materials, and 50% off installation.
800-588-2300 Empire.
Today. This is a Gardner White exclusive offer. Get the largest price rollbacks on Serta ever at our biggest Memorial Day sale ever. Every mattress is discounted with huge rollbacks, up to an extra $1,000 off the sale price. Like the Serta Canton Queen. Price cut and price cut again, now just $7.99 with free gifts. We make it easy with 0% financing up to 60 months and free same-day delivery. Get the lowest price and the lowest payments on Serta, period. The Memorial Day mattress sale at Gardner White, Michigan's #1 Serta dealer.
The Grand Prix is back on the streets of Detroit, and Local 4 is there at every turn. Stay with us for live Grand Prix coverage inside the action all weekend long. Watch on Local 4 and stream on Local 4 Plus. Sponsored by Chevrolet, the Monroe Street Midway, and by the Detroit Red Wings. Spring is here. Download the Forewarn Weather app. Get alerts, exact track 4D radar. Download the Forewarn Weather app. Always watching, always tracking.
In order to deal with the problems of today, we must be more innovative.
There's obviously better solutions out there that we need to start exploring.
Rents are going up and up and up and up.
Our great Florida reef is under attack.
When great value is out, it's a problem.
Solutionaries, the creative thinkers and doers working to make the world a better place. Subscribe at youtube.com/Solutionaries.
And welcome back to Flashpoint from Mackinac Island. You know, a lot of conversations happening up here talking about growth, but also talking about innovation for entrepreneurs and also what residents want to see in economic opportunities, plus making sure that education is key as well. Take a look. I also wanted to pull out some numbers taking a look at the educational and economic opportunities, but it says just 30% of city residents are satisfied with the educational system or schools in their area. But in the suburbs, 58% are satisfied with their local schools, and that is even lower than the national. That is lower than the national average, which is surprising to me.
Yes, and I think that, Christy, those are two things that are very important to Detroiters, whether you live in the suburb or the city.
Yes,
and that is access to quality education.
Absolutely.
Or feeling like you have access to quality education systems. And I think when we see that is what's surprising to me about that data is what young Detroiters, so those 18 to 39. Say about not just their satisfaction with the availability of public school, but 52% think children would be better off going to schools elsewhere other than in their community or their neighborhoods.
I know you have the 80%
Oakland 80, yeah.
Oakland 80. So by 2030, making sure 80% of the population of Oakland County has some sort of a degree above high school. So 2-year degree, 4-year degree, anything. How is that going so far?
It's critical. Yeah. It's going really well. Let me tell you why it's so important. We did the data on this. People that have a high school degree or less, their average wage is about $12 an hour. If you have more than a high school degree, diploma, your average wage is $30 an hour. It's a huge disparity, but there's still too many people that think, well, if I get a high school diploma, you know, my dad had a high school diploma and he had a good job in the factories, that sort of thing. Those days are over. You need more skills to make the kind of money you need to raise a family these days. So we set that goal. We started at 61% 2 years ago. And just recently, we announced that we have hit 69%.
Okay.
So it's a big, audacious goal. We've really leaned in on it. We've invested in it. We're working with our universities, our community colleges, our unions, apprenticeship programs, the whole gamut. It doesn't have to be a 4-year degree. A 4-year degree is not for everybody, but you need something. You got to have more than that high school diploma.
You're a hardware company, but you're also a software company. That means you're gathering a lot of different kind of talent as well. And when you're doing the expansion and looking at expanding with EVs, and specifically, let's go ahead and take a look at Michigan and finding the talent that's here and the deliberate placemaking and deliberate decision about when you grow and when you're picking a plant and where you want to be. What are some of the considerations that I think, Michigan needed to take into consideration to be able to have more of Ford here?
Well, Michigan's always going to have Ford here as long as I'm alive. You know, I love this state. I I can't imagine not investing in Michigan. But, you know, and in one of the and we've invested billions over the last few years in Michigan, and will continue to do so. And one of the great things we have here are our universities. Our universities in Michigan are fantastic. And there's a lot of talent coming out of those universities. But the problem was, in the past, a lot of those graduates would move to Chicago, or we lost them. But we now can offer those kinds of jobs, software and hardware, but particularly working on future problems that young people find really compelling. So we're doing a lot of hiring in Michigan. And as I say, our pipeline here is really good. The problem was, in the past, we'd lose them, and then it's hard to get them back.
If you ever meet a Texan on a plane or anywhere, and you don't have on noise-canceling headphones, and they don't have on noise-canceling headphones, what is the thing they're going to convince you of?
Texas is fantastic.
Whether or not they have an ice storm that melts their power grid, whether they're running out of water, whether there are assaults on their civil liberties, whether they indicted the attorney general, the chief, they're going to tell you it's wonderful. We have none of those challenges, and we have tremendous pride of place, but we still talk about our state in ways that is not conducive to attracting people.
We need some swagger, huh?
We need swagger, but we need to make sure that our pride of place is reflective of a self-esteem. You can be relentlessly objective, but you got to be your own best cheerleader.
So many conversations that we've had up here on Mackinac Island that we did right here on Local 4 Plus, and you can see all of them on clickondetroit.com. And as with every policy conference, always politics weaves its way into everything, Devin.
That's so right, Christy. Part of the lifeblood of it, including this past week, a fascinating appearance by former Congresswoman Liz Cheney. And we'll hear part of that when we continue on Flashpoint from Mackinac Island in just a moment.
Hey guys, want to be a member of DFCU Financial? Live, work, or go to school here? Then yeah, you can join.
You know, if you have one of these, then you can use Anywhere Banking from DFCU Financial. They have all the tech you need. My credit union gives me cash back on all of my accounts, even my loans. Run, don't walk to DFCU Financial.
Numbers fill our lives. They connect us to people.
Happy anniversary. Thank you.
To places.
241 Diner. Remember, 241.
Even our past.
Nothing beats my 350.
And then some connect right to us.
3029. I've been here all my life.
Michigan Lottery Daily 3 and 4 games.
What's your number?
Straight back bonuses here. Match your Daily 3 or Daily 4 straight bet in reverse and win for a limited time only.
During our Memorial Day sale, Gardner White will do what no one has ever done before. Put the best furniture in the world on sale. So now you can afford the best, like the Century Cornerstone Sectional for 50% off. That's a real half off. Or buy a Bernhardt bedroom or dining room for up to 50% off. Or bring Vanguard home for as little as $1 a day with 0% financing for 60 months. And as always, it's in stock. Plus, we deliver and set up the same day for free. Gardner White, the best for less.
Keep coming.
A truck full of alligators released here. Some as big as 10 feet long and 600 pounds. This isn't the Florida Everglades. This is right here in Michigan. When they get too big to be pets, that's right, pets, they end up here. Why is this happening? The results of our investigation. Gatorgate, Monday at 5:45 on Local 4 News and streaming on Local 4 Plus.
Welcome back to Flashpoint. And as always, Devin, here on Mackinac at the conference, there's always some politics that weaves its way through every conversation we have.
It's one of the things you and I love about being here, of course, talking politics, even though we are still a year and a half away from a presidential election. that people are already talking about because we've got candidates declaring. It is certainly on the mind of former Congresswoman Liz Cheney, who had a fascinating conversation with me this past Thursday morning. Here's how part of that went. As we move into this new election cycle, a lot of us, I think, are very curious about where you're going to be on this. I'm going to assume that since Ron DeSantis has talked about pardoning a lot of the January 6th insurgents, that he's probably not going to be where you're going to move your support.
That is true.
Okay. We have a lot of, Chris Christie said yesterday that he's going to be announcing soon. Mike Pence is going to be announcing. We've already seen a couple of other people who are already in the race, and I think there's a lot of people who would love to hear about Liz Cheney making a run for president. Is that any? It's just you and I here. Yeah. Just between you and me,
yeah,
is that a possibility?
I'm not making any announcements here today. I am really focused on making sure that Donald Trump isn't anywhere close to the Oval Office again. And I'm going to continue to make sure to do everything I can, both to ensure that, also to make sure that other election deniers are not elected. And I think that is just so hugely important. When we put people in positions of authority who deny the sanctity of our elections, we really do put the republic at risk. And so in offices around the country, I'm going to be working in that regard.
You are speaking in a way to the Michigan Republican Party, which had basically as a litmus test at its last convention that if you believe that Joe Biden was the properly elected president, you really weren't welcome here. And the party's being led by election deniers. Yeah. Any thoughts on what's going on in Michigan?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think, Michigan is a hugely important state. And I say that with great fondness for Michigan. The very first campaign I ever worked on in my whole life was in 1976 for Jerry Ford. My dad was his chief of staff, and we were volunteers on the campaign. I tell people even now when I hear the Michigan Fight song, I think of Jerry Ford because they played it at every single campaign event. And,
There's a few people in this room who have it as their ringtone.
Yes,
so.
I can imagine. That's right. Don't tell anybody in Ohio I said that. But no, look, I think that what's happening here in Michigan, I mean, I see it in my home state of Wyoming as well. The chairman of the party in Wyoming is a member of the Oath Keepers. And we as Republicans have to reject that. And what I have seen happen is that people who are willing to deny elections and people who are embracing this cult of personality around Donald Trump are not only running for, state and federal office, but they are also running, for school board office. They're running to be precinct chairmen and women. Yes. And they have to be resisted at every stage of that battle and of that effort. And I would say something to my Democratic friends. When you have somebody like Peter Meyer, who did a very courageous thing. Peter had been in Congress for like 3 days.
Couple days.
Maybe 10 days by the time we had the impeachment vote. And he did what he knew was right. And then we had the National Democratic Party come in and support his opponent, who was an election denier, in the primary. And that's playing with fire. If there are Democrats who think, well, if we just get, Trump as the Republican nominee, we can defeat him in the general, I would say that is not a risk any of us can take. So don't play that kind of game. And I think that the fundamental test, and look, it was why I came to do an event for Alyssa Slotkin. Being at a Democratic political rally in Lansing, Michigan is not something I ever imagined myself doing. But Alyssa, you know, she, along with Abigail Spanberger in Virginia, these are people, colleagues of mine that I know are good people. And I think that in this election cycle, and hopefully it won't take us too many more, but the political ground is really shifting. And we all have to support people we know will defend the Constitution and people who will do what's right.
Liz Cheney receiving, I can't remember too many standing ovations in all the many years that I've been coming here, but she got one, and really fascinating to hear her talk.
Yeah.
I always say when I leave the island, I think I'm leaving with a brain that is about 1 pound heavier than when I came.
You're taking in everything. You're like, wait a minute, I've got so many things to think about now.
I always learn a lot. What is your takeaway this year as we head back?
You know, I think this is my 12th year up here at the conference. I think for the first time that I'm seeing or hearing business leaders and also politicians talking about how we need to have a larger strategy in Michigan that goes beyond term limits, that goes beyond these policies that all of a sudden are turning over every 2 years, 4 years. It's not just about infrastructure. It's not just about education, that all of those things are what's going to bind, and it needs to be a long-term strategy over the next 20 years or so that's going to be able to build Michigan to what we all want it to be and what we all know that it can be.
Instead of this year, we're going to talk about education.
Exactly.
This year, we're going to talk about, right.
Yeah.
It's got to be multi-pronged.
What about you?
The one thing, I'm still stunned that I was unaware until the mayor's presentation the other night on property taxes in Detroit.
It was a good lesson on it, wasn't it?
That people were only paying $30 a year tax on a vacant lot, which makes it very easy to just soak up one lot in each block and sit around and wait.
Now, it's going to be interesting because the legislature is going to have to take that up.
Right.
And I talked to Speaker Joe Tate, and he's like, that's very interesting. He's like, as a Detroit resident, that's something we're going to be listening to.
Well, and the Detroit residents, you'd think when it gets to them, will have no trouble voting for a tax break for themselves.
Absolutely.
Another fascinating year. Christy, great to be here with you.
Thanks.
And thank you so much for being here as well. Have a great week. We'll see you next time for Flashpoint.